All right, let's dive in. This is a playbook for any South African technology leader out there who's feeling the heat. We're talking about a world of constant pressure, constant disruption. So we're going to explore how you can actually move past just putting out fires and start building a real strategic advantage.
Okay, let's just start with a hard truth, one that a lot of leaders are finding out the hard way. This quote, wow, it just nails the biggest challenge of the AI era. It's telling us loud and clear that success isn't about having the fanciest AI models. Nope. It's about how strong and, how truly integrated your organization is. So this really is the question for every CIO in the country, right? I mean, think about it. You are trying to navigate these huge regulatory shifts, you've got constant cyber threats breathing down your neck, and oh yeah, you're also dealing with the fun reality of load shedding. On top of all that, you're juggling shiny new cloud platforms with legacy systems that are probably older than some of your staff. It's no wonder the confidence can feel like a total luxury. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to.
Okay, so our first pillar, and this is so important, it's all about getting the fundamentals right. Before you can even dream about scaling some incredible AI solution, you've got to stabilize the core business. We have to be clear, true AI readiness isn't just a tech problem, it's an organizational one.
I love this slide because it's so brutally honest. Just think of AI as a giant amplifier. It takes whatever you have and makes it, well, more. So if your data's a mess, guess what? Automation is just going to make bad decisions, but way faster. If you've got gaps in your processes, AI will shine a massive spotlight on them. And if you're drowning in technical debt, every new project is just going to be a slow, painful grind. The bottom line is you just can't build a skyscraper on shaky ground. It's as simple as that.
So the big question is, how do you actually build that solid ground? Well, it's a 4-stage process, and it's pretty practical. Step 1, you stabilize the core. Your systems, your data, your processes, get that house in order. Step 2, you formalize governance. Think of this as the rule book for how you're going to use AI. Step 3, you build up the capability in your people. And then, and only then, as step 4, can you start to scale things with real intention, with real control.
All right, so once that foundation is in place, we can move on to the second pillar. And this one's a game changer. We tend to think of risk as, red tape, just a bunch of paperwork that slows everything down. But the sharpest leaders, they're flipping that script completely. They are literally turning risk management from this defensive chore into their most powerful strategic weapon. And this comparison just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you got the old view, it's defensive, it's about paperwork, it's driven by fear. But the new view, that's proactive, that's your strategic compass. It gives you the hard evidence you need to make smart calls and the foresight to see trouble coming, which, by the way, is exactly what builds your credibility with the board.
So, this is it. The million-dollar question, right? How in the world do you get the board to sign off on those crucial tech upgrades? Well, here's the secret. You stop talking about fear and you start talking about foresight.
Okay, here's the playbook, the actual formula. First, you have to quantify the risk. Put a number on it. What does 1 hour of downtime actually cost the business in rands and cents? Second, you link your proposed solution directly to protecting revenue and avoiding those costs. And third, and this is key, you frame the investment not as a cost, but as simple financial prudence. This move completely reframes the conversation. Suddenly, it's not, why do we need this budget? It's, okay, so how much risk are we as a board willing to stomach if we don't do this? See the difference? That is how you turn risk into power.
Now for our third pillar. This one tackles a hidden but really costly problem that a lot of leaders face: going it alone. Professional isolation. See, in the kind of complex world we're in now, being the lone genius just doesn't cut it anymore. Your biggest advantage today? It's shared judgment.
Think about it. When you're operating in a vacuum, you're going to fall behind. It's just inevitable. You start to lag in learning because you're missing out on what's really working for your peers on the ground. Then you start to lag in confidence because you have no way to benchmark your own calls. And all of that leads to a lag in your boardroom positioning. You start looking reactive, not proactive. And in today's market, that lag, man, it is incredibly expensive.
But let's be super clear about something. This is not about groupthink. It's not about trying to get everyone to agree on everything. No. The real value of connecting with your peers is about getting clarity for your decisions. It's about sharpening your own judgment by hearing the real-world stories, the context, the trade-offs, the outcomes from people you trust.
Okay, that brings us to our fourth and final pillar. And honestly, this might be the most important one of all, especially when we're talking about the South African context. Here it is. Real success with automation has almost nothing to do with the technology and everything to do with people. It comes from strengthening your teams, not trying to replace them. So a big part of this conversation is about something called AI agents. Now, don't let the term scare you. The easiest way to think of them is like digital teammates. They're just pieces of software built to handle specific and usually pretty repetitive tasks. We're talking about things like reconciling financial data or maybe answering those super common customer questions over and over.
And this quote from a local CXO, it's just so powerful. It really gets to the heart of it. The story you tell about automation is just as important as the tech itself. Think about it. When you frame AI as a tool that's taking the grunt work, you empower your team, you free them up for more important stuff. But if you frame it as something that's taking over, all you create is fear and resistance. That one single shift in how you talk about it can literally be the difference between a successful project and a complete failure.
So here's a really practical model for how to bring these agents into your workflow. Think of it in 3 layers. You start with the pilot layer. Here, the AI is just an assistant. It helps you draft a report, maybe summarize a long meeting. Easy stuff. Then you can move to the co-pilot layer. Now the AI is working with your staff, collaborating, and you have shared accountability. And finally, way down the road, for those super predictable, low-risk jobs, you can have an autopilot layer. But here's the most important rule. At every single stage, a human is still in charge. A human is always accountable.
So where does all this leave us? What does it all mean? Well, when you pull these 4 pillars together, your solid foundation, using risk as a superpower, connecting with your peers, and putting people first, what you see is a fundamental shift in the CIO's role. It's about so much more than just implementing tech anymore.
The modern CIO, you're not just a manager, you're the architect of the whole system. It's your job to be the one who integrates the business context, who builds the capability of the entire organization, and who makes sure there's clear accountability. Your real job is to design the organization in a way that allows technology to create the most possible value, both safely and effectively. And that brings us right to our final parting thought. In the world we just talked about, the future isn't going to reward the loudest voice in the room. No way. It's going to reward the most connected one. Someone who's connected to their peers, connected to shared insights, and connected to the real pulse of what actually works out there. So the question I want to leave you with is a simple one. Are you connected?